Hi, I'm Bryce.
And I'm Jimmy.
We are telecom and creative professionals. We're also fans of podcasting as our respective careers give us an abundance of windshield time.
While there is a podcast for just about any obscure topic you can think of, there was no regular podcast pertaining to Montana politics.
And that is why, with our combined powers, we are Montana Voices Podcast.
We strive to be an independent voice for all issues pertaining to Montanans and Montana politics.
We also strive to be very forthcoming with our personal biases as we attempt to see beyond them.
Montana Voices Podcast does not operate in a vacuum. We need your support, whether that be listening to our cast, providing us feedback, sending us conversation topics, sharing our content, or providing financial support.
We look forward to a long career in podcasting with your added assistance.
Well, and we are live with episode 27 of Montana Voices Podcast.
It's great to be here. I'd like to note that, we are making progress first and foremost because this is our second time live within 1 month. I see here, first off, that our last live event was on August 1st.
Yeah, in the same month, so that is 2 per month. Things are looking up, and we have a whole slew of news here. We were actually planning to be live earlier this month, but there's no cell reception in Garnet, so we were sort of limited on that, so you guys missed out.
Hard times indeed.
Yeah, I can't believe for a thriving mining town that there's not 4G there.
It's unfortunate. I feel like there's been pushes to get that done before, broadband into our remote mining towns of the past.
Absolutely. Well, let me go through our business here while Bryce posts some links to our Twitter, Facebook, Discord, and I don't know, you manage all that, whichever ones we're on. But we are Montana Voices Podcast. We, of course, have the website, montanavoicespodcast.com. We'll have the audio for all of our casts listed there, as well as other items, possibly. Our email is montanavoices@gmail.com. Twitter is @Montana_voices. You're listening to this on Facebook, where we are Montana Voices Podcast. We have Twitch as well, which I suppose could be live streaming too, but
hard to say if we'll even stay on that platform, though. It sounds like it could be a dying media here, so, I apologize to even hype it up. I feel ashamed to lead you on.
You hyped Twitch for quite some time, and you made us live stream while you were playing, what was it, Far Cry? Or
Far Cry 5. Still, we'll live stream that. I just don't know which service it'll be on just yet.
Well, and our YouTube, where you will also see the same content, as well as our backdrop or our B-roll, is Montana Voices Podcast. Just 3 words. Well, let's run through our old news here. Things we discussed in our last live cast. We discussed trafficking, which was a sting by the Cascade County Sheriff's Office. And I put that in quotations on our list here because it didn't fit my definition of trafficking. And
no, it definitely felt working more so than, or I don't know, that's not a term you use, and they get all, hey.
Yeah, we talked about this for long after we were both uncomfortable with this topic on episode 26.
Extremely, to the point where it was like, why'd we even bring it up?
Public lawns, specifically public libraries, and the homeless. Bullock running in 2020 and abandoning the state, and apparently leaving it open for Danes to be in the Senate.
Yep. Staying off lawns, and specifically how Bullock has done a good job at that.
Yep, and Missoula has banned crypto things, so that you cannot get a new license, a business license in Missoula County to do any sort of crypto mining. Great Falls might be taking up the helm. We discussed that in 26. AM not being dead, but apparently is dead. Now we just checked on 1310 KEIN, and it is off the air still. She's dead, Jim.
Oh, I love to say that. I hope we don't get nailed. Watch, they're going to take us offline for that now over at Facebook. If you're on any sort of AM radio currently, 1450 is still where to be in Great Falls.
And great reception. And are they still doing sports? They've got sports, they've got some news, they've got some music. I'm not sure what they're doing, so.
It's just a matter of the hour, all dependent on who they let on to talk.
Well, and we had a moment of silence for Mudman Burgers, which is no more in the Kalispell, Whitefish, Flathead area up there. Apparently, a non-profit burger joint does not work well.
Not when you intimidate people, apparently, is what the charges were. Something like that. It was pretty
Well, it was a dumb thing. I
I
mean,
don't know. It was something that was like, you don't do that. Like,
but that sounds like every restaurant ever. I mean,
indeed, but like to the point where like people file against you, like you gotta have a lot of people get angry.
well, they didn't file. They just had a news story about it.
Oh,
So a single
well.
news story, and then the business went immediately under because of that
Did
bad.
they not handle it well then? I forget what they did about it.
Well, apparently, they had no money because people that were working didn't get paid for the last 2 weeks and were out on their own, which is too bad because people working fast food, don't have money stored up for such events happening.
It sucks to lose your job in any respect. So
Well,
that
let's
is a horrible time.
run into our new business. Getting back to Northwestern Energy, and this is something that we have talked about in the cast before, and now has gotten some more scrutiny. Is that the reported by the Billings Gazette that Northwestern Energy was illegally? I guess the charges are Northwestern Energy and the Public Service Commission together were. Together. I know.
What? In cahoots, they're supposed to be at odds at all times. Usually, at least when maybe it was just Travis Kavula that they were at odds with. Who knows? But wow, I didn't know about that.
Well, yeah, they were. I mean, we discussed this in a previous cast, but they had a blog that they seemingly only took out the creds to crap talk on Travis Kavula, and it was pretty rough and pretty wrestling like. I mean, they're only a few steps away from articles. I mean, call Travis Kavula, tell him to stop beating his wife, that sort of thing. So it was pretty scathing what they were writing in their blog, and then Travis Kavula had newspapers, but that's an old thing because Travis Kavula, what state he went to work for in another state? He's out of state now, so
I don't hear anything from. I don't hear anything from him anymore, really.
well, he doesn't live in the state. He's
Well,
advising, investing something. I forget exactly, but we'll have to dig back deep in the archives to find that out.
On to other things. Jeez, wow.
Yeah, but Northwestern Energy apparently was stifling renewables by the Montana law stated they had to invest in some renewables and put something into that infrastructure, but they were not doing that, and it turns out that they had metrics they were using to say that it was bad investments. And this is something that we've reported on, and how the Public Service Commission was essentially turning a blind eye and letting Northwestern Energy do that. So, which is totally unlike the agency, which is should be handling that.
Wow, it'll be interesting to see how that turns out.
So maybe touting our other folks, AM radio. They had the chairman of the Public Service Commission on Voices of Montana. No relation to Montana Voices podcast at all.
Just some other guys who happen to be in the same area geographically, kind of.
And have AM radio stations or are on AM radio
pretty
stations.
Neat. Cool for them.
Yep, but so I
we potentially could be on one too, but it's off air.
yeah, it's off air. And the guy I was talking to, as soon as I said we want to be paid, this sort of destroyed our conversation. So nothing went past that, and I wasn't talking about a whole lot of money. I just wanted to establish a professional relationship where we have a check that comes in that we cash at a bank, and they were not for that. I don't know if they wanted to trade. I don't know what an AM radio station would have to trade, lawn work or something. But it didn't happen, and apparently it's all for naught because they are off the air. And we have ventured beyond our thing on our AM.
Let's back on the ship here.
So Bullock, in the last cast, we reported he wasn't in Montana, and he is still not in Montana. He is giving speeches about tech disruption and workforce
Is
training.
he not going to do anything else here? Like, because I know he got knocked out of third round for the Democratic debate.
But he's doubled down. He says it's presidency or bust for him. So it sounds like it's bust.
I was going to say it sounded like it was bust really from the start, kind of. Like, I mean, I don't know, man. We should really let the heavy hitters at that, whereas
A lot of heavy hit. Are we still up to 20 of them? I can't even keep track of all the Democrats nowadays.
there's a lot of hitters over there.
Well, we'll keep you updated on Bullock abandoning the state. It feels like he's in his last half of his senior year here.
So like he is Was he even up for re-election for governor? At this
He's
point?
termed out, I think.
He's termed out. Oh, okay, so he was done no matter what.
Yes, but the Senate was still open, and so far there is nobody that we've heard of that's going to be a challenger for Daines, which is odd years. So is that going to be 2 years from now, I believe? So,
Well, you could have at least given it a shot.
I mean, Daines was pretty vulnerable. He just didn't have an appointment, a good opponent that was viable. I didn't think so.
Well, it was Amanda Curtis. They didn't really have a.
Was it Amanda Curtis? No, Williams was against Gianforte, as I recall. Williams, Gianforte, and I forget who ran against Daines last time.
Was it Quist?
It was Quist. All right, it was Quist, who just had a concert in Great Falls, by the way. He was down at Giant Springs.
Right on. How was that?
I didn't go,
Oh.
so I saw it post
Suppose you
for him. But
I was not there either. I'm sure. I'm sure it put on a rage fest there of a show.
he was up there slamming the White Claws, and he had a good power riffs going on, I'm sure. Because I've actually never heard Rob Quist play outside of a political ad.
Yeah, that's really all I've heard. And usually political ads have a bunch of sinister overtone music playing.
So, talking about politics still. I mean, I think spent too much time on this in the last podcast, talking about Rick Tryon and the E-City Beat, which didn't take a whole lot to come up with. Owned by an architect, or at least the voice behind it is Phil Facenda, I think I'm saying it. He's a Great Falls architect, very conservative, but they're in charge of E-City Beat, and so we had done a marginal amount of digging to figure this out. Not much, but turns out that he's in charge, and there's a lot of articles that seem like they're sort of written by Rick Tryon about Rick Tryon's campaign, that according to E-City Beat are written by E-City Beat staff, which they have staff apparently. So,
well, I think they just like the dude, and there's nothing wrong with that. But
yeah, they. I mean, publications often have an opinion about these sorts of things, but
be like, we think Rick's cool.
They should, but Rick is on the staff, or I don't know if I say staff loosely. You can't see my quotes, but I don't know if they're actually paying anybody for work over there. That I can't tell you. But he's on the staff, and it seems like that shouldn't be the case. I mean, even when Donald Trump was running for president, NBC took off The Apprentice because you don't want to give free press to anyone. So now I'm wondering, is The Apprentice even back on the air? Can I tune into Nick at Night or something and see The Apprentice nowadays?
I don't know. I think it might have been pulled from syndication. It's something worth Googling to see if it's...
Could probably get it on Hulu. But
NBC. It's NBC show, right?
yeah, it was NBC.
So if it's NBC, then... I'm trying to think if that's part of the Disney merger at any point. I'm pretty certain they're still their own entity. Has the mouse purchased them yet or not?
Well, isn't everything on the Mouse's auction block at some point, I think?
Yeah, but it's just a matter of when. Just a matter of when, like with I hate to bring up comic book stuff, but the Spider-Man thing. Have you followed that at all?
No, I'm out of that.
Oh, well.
Not quite that nerdy.
A lot of contractual disputes with Sony regarding the rights to Spider-Man. And I can just imagine at some point the lawyers at Disney were like, well, okay, whatever, we're just going to buy it in like a couple of years.
So I'll back us up to Lacenda again, the architect, who looked way too deep into the E-City Beats history to find out that he apparently has a bone to pick with the design review board, and as an architect, it might be an actual legitimate bone to pick with them and legitimate complaints.